Hello, it's Justice. Yeah, I'm just making my rounds around here and doing errands and stuff. And just briefly want to talk about the governing body and the governing body policies of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, this is understood, but some witnesses haven't really thought about it, but it's pretty common and understood. It's obvious that the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses never apologizes for any inconvenience that its policies or changes in its policies may have caused. And it never compensates either for any inconvenience. Like with certain medical policies, particularly with medical policies, you know that there's been some casualties or some deaths created by certain blood policies, and then they go change these policies later, and then they never compensate to the family or to the victims. Sometimes it may have involved some loss of life even, but they never compensate or even apologize, formally or informally, for any inconvenience that these previous policies may have caused. They just tell you, this is a new policy, go with it. Anytime they change a policy or make any policy, just go with it. And if they change it, they just tell you this is a new policy, go with it. They never accept, any kind of responsibility or compensate or apologize for any problems that the previous policy may have caused. And sometimes it may have even been a loss of life. When the witness is trying to stay consistent with the medical policy, and they may have become a martyr for a certain medical policy that turned out to be changed later. And there's no apology or compensation given to the victims or the victims of the family of the victims. No. They just say, this is a new policy, go with it. If they change the understanding, doctrinal understanding, they just tell you this is the new information. Go with it. Now, they have witnesses out there preaching something for years, decades, telling millions of people that this is the understanding of this or that. And then they change it, maybe after 30 or 40 years. In the meantime, though, witnesses have told millions of people that this is the understanding, that's the understanding, and then they change it. And then there's no apology given for any inconvenience or problems that the old understanding might have created. They just tell you this is the new understanding. Just go with it. So they don't accept any responsibility for something that turned out to be, incorrect. A witness could become a martyr for something that turned out to be incorrect. And the governing body does not accept any responsibility for it. They just tell you this is the new understanding or this is the new policy. Just go with it. So yeah, even the case of the 1914 generation, when they changed that, there was no apology or responsibility, compensation for any problems caused by that. Because a lot of us, we grew up, Jehovah's Witnesses, we grew up thinking that maybe we wouldn't be 40 years old before Armageddon came. Because if the 1914 generation wouldn't pass away completely before Armageddon came, then we that were much younger than that generation, you know, we knew we were going to make it, you know, right? If we were faithful, we were going to be in the new order, and we wouldn't get too old. You know, I'm almost 50 years old myself. You know, I grew up, you know, in the Watchtower organization, and so I'm thinking, oh, Armageddon is imminent. You know, it's definitely imminent. You know, that generation is getting up in years, and I'm younger, so we're not going to get too old, and Armageddon will come by a certain time, and we won't get but so old. And you know, now I'm almost 50 years old myself, and according to the old understanding, you know, we should be in the new order now, but yet we're getting older ourselves too. Even the younger people that grew up thinking that, right? They've gotten older. You know, we're still in this system because of the old understanding. If it turned out to not be correct, but yet they had us out there preaching to millions of people something that turned out to not to be correct. Now we're getting older, parents are getting older and all that, and we're still in the system. But we were not supposed to be, according to what the old understanding said. But the governing body didn't accept any responsibility for that either. You know, it just says, this is the new understanding, just go with it. After telling millions of people that generation wouldn't pass away, then they say something else now. Since 1995, they've been preaching that this generation is something else, that it overlaps. Which, you know, how the generations overlap, that's, you know, that's an odd concept. But that's what they're teaching now, and so when we grew up under the old light, the old understanding, we figured we'd be in the new order by now. If that had been correct, most likely we would be. But that's just another inconsistency of the governing body and governing body policies. Okay. Well, I'll talk to you later.